Hey, hey, beautiful people. It is 11:03 a.m. on the 5th of December 2015. This honk or whatever it's going on, this has been going on for about 30 seconds now. I'm not quite sure what it is, but that's the that's the ending of it. Um I had something that's been repeating lately, and many persons are asking me about what does the end times mean to me, and somebody just asked on my last video yesterday, and I've tried to explain this many times, so I guess I ought to put it in the video, especially since I said yesterday in yesterday's video that 2016 is about the purging. It's the end of the tribulation. It's the end of the 7 years of transition. Um, the end times is really about waking up to the duality game that we experience here on Earth School. We're here on Earth School for the duality game. We've been playing this duality game since way before coming to Earth School. What is the duality game for? Every person on this planet is learning to become. Here comes the white pelicans again, flying straight at me. Hello. Love to hear their wings go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh as they go by. Every person on this planet is here learning to become a conscious creator, a creator of universes, a creator of their experience. And the duality experience that we all have to go into is to learn that which works and is good for creation, and is very, where people are conscious of the cause and effect of everything they're creating. It's just like in our own physical vessels. If we have illnesses, we're causing that illness. And the duality experiment is about immersing ourselves into that experience and mastering being a conscious creator. The duality experiment has been going on for many, many, many millions of years, and it wasn't just beginning here on Earth. I mean, we have had experiences within this galaxy, in the Orion Belt, of Team Light and Team Dark way back then. Many of us had mastered the process, become ascended masters, and we exited this plane and went all the way up and out of the time-space matrices, and were asked to come back to help out the rest of humanity. That's why this is a mission, a volunteer mission for many of us who have been holding those ancient memories, those ancient experiences, those things which we had accomplished, and we're coming back to help share it with humanity. And so humanity would wake up and come out of this dream that they have been in, where God is on the exterior of total separation. That's really what it is. We had to go through that total separation so that we could reintegrate the higher levels of self. Consciousness is about that reintegration of those higher levels of self. It's not about intellect. That's what I was trying to get through in my video yesterday, and what so many persons who of second wave who are now waking up, they're trying to play off ascension as being of the intellect and the brain. And that's not true. Food is not going to give you higher consciousness. Food does have vibration. Food does heal the body. But food does not give you consciousness. Consciousness comes from here. The more you go and remain here, the deeper you go into here, the greater you expand. The higher light and frequency you hold, the greater your consciousness awareness is, the greater you're reconnecting to your higher levels of self, which is frequency and light, which has that consciousness awareness, kind of like data coming through a fiber optic cable. That fiber optic cable is your various expansions into your higher levels of self. Each different level, higher level of self, has a different understanding. When you first begin integrating the soul and you're stepping into harmonic 2, you're stepping out of that ego intellect, going into the heart and expanding, you're integrating more of the soul within your physical vessel. That's when you feel that little flicker of flame in the heart. And the intent is to grow that, to hold more and more of who you are in the physical vessel. That's when you become your angelic self, and you have this compassion for all life and all things as you integrate more and more of that self. Your next level is when you step into harmonic 3, which is the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimensions, your archangelic self. Your archangelic self has a different level of consciousness from your angelic self. Your angelic self is compassion, not wanting to see harm or pain come to others out there. Your archangelic self realizes, we're creating our experience, our reality. We are the ones that are doing that. And your archangelic self is going, we want you to have exactly what you have manifested so that you can learn from it. So whether you consider it good or bad, and there is no good or bad, there's just things that you wish and things that you do not wish to have manifested in your life. Your archangelic self, your oversoul self, that which is from harmonic 3, levels 7, 8, and 9, 7th, 8th, and 9th dimensions, that is the archangelic self. At the end of the archangelic self, you have really shifted your consciousness from your head into your heart, and you have expanded to the 3rd layer of being, which activates, when you activate your heart chakra, you're activating all 12 strands of DNA. There is a process of doing it. There are a lot of people out there that say they can activate you. There is nobody that can keep you out of your head and in your heart, which is the activation. To activate your heart chakra, you must be in your heart and out of your head more than 51% of the time. It is a process. When you do that, then, and you activate your heart chakra, you begin to activate all 12 strands of DNA. You're starting to prepare for your ascension mastery. To activate your heart chakra is only the 5th initiation. And it's at that time your body starts changing. It's at that time that you're going to have a death of your old life. You're going to have to renounce the duality that you've been living in, the ego that you've been living in, and consciously strive to change your life and to understand what's going on. It's then when you're just beginning to play in the avatar levels. The avatar levels are the Elohim levels. The Elohim levels, harmonic 4, dimensions 10, 11, and 12. Harmonic 4 is the level of the avatar. That's when you become very, very magical. You have to consciously be aware of each and every thought and emotion that comes through your field, of the persons who you hang with, of the movies or television shows you watch, of the music you listen to. Because as you're holding those levels of light and frequency, you're manifesting things so very, very rapidly. At first, it might be a few days, maybe even a week, as you're just beginning that process. Later on, when you're starting to complete that level of harmonic and move into harmonic 5 and ascension, the ascended mastery magnetics levels, everything that you're manifesting happens most instantly. It's the training that you have to slowly go through and understand how it works. You have to realize that you are engineering your experience here on Earth. And you do that very slowly. You don't just jump into that. Because if you held those levels of light and frequency and you had bad thoughts and had not corrected the way you perceive things, your thought and your emotion, and how you see things on the exterior of you, then you can manifest things very rapidly that not only damages yourself, but the things, everything around you. Well, in the duality experience, you have to have the two extremes of the polarity. You have to have the light and you have to have the dark. And really, Team Dark, with what we're seeing going on planet right now, Team Dark is holding and anchoring. Somebody's taking a picture aimed straight at me. Team Dark is anchoring the frequencies that are doing the best they can to wake up humanity. If you realize what's going on with all these false flag events, they are being so open. They're trying to get people to wake up and see that we don't want those experiences. We don't want to have rulers over us. And if you're going through your ascension process, you're not going to have a ruler over you. And that's what these end times are about. We've already been through that for thousands and thousands of years, probably for millions and millions of years. Not just on this planet, but on the places that we came from in the duality experiment before we got quarantined on this planet. We went into the deepest, darkest levels, which we had to have that full separation from source to learn to be the masters that we can be, the absolute sovereign beings, knowing what our thought and emotion and our intent is creating, and knowing cause and effect. That's what this is all about. Team Dark is trying to do the best they can to wake up this planet. And much of Team Dark is not aware that they're doing this. But humanity has to make a choice. Each individual has to decide. We are each individually the masters of our own experience, of our own life, of the events that we experience right here and right now. And we collectively do this also. We do this in our own families, those birth families that we're in. We do it in the groups that we come together in. Just like if you went to a church, they are focusing their energies when they're trying to heal someone or they're praying for something to happen. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's still the same thing. You're still utilizing focused thought and intent and emotion to manifest. The more you have expanded, the more light and frequency you hold, the quicker it manifests. That's why there is a process. What's happening right now is we're in the final awakening stages of humanity. Many of the kids coming in, they understand what quantum physics is. I was at Walmart. No, it was Michael's Arts the other day, and this little girl was in a cart in front of me, and she had her hand out, and you could see she was focusing her intent. And I said, "You've got the magic." And she goes, "Uh-huh." The kids these days understand quantum physics. It's the adults who have gone through all the intellectual schooling that have been trained that that's nonsense. When quantum physics is that our thoughts and our emotions and our intent, how long we can hold it, times our light and frequency in our field, is what's creating our reality. That's exactly it. It's a quantum universe. Energy follows thought. Energy follows intent. Each one of us who gathers together to hold intent, her splash, is focusing on creating a reality. Many times, those of us who are very awake and aware are put into situations or places around the planet where there are a lot of unawakened persons. There's a lot of lower vibrations. There is an event going down that somebody who holds the higher light and frequencies must be there to baffle those energies so that we don't have her splash. See, I'd rather go play with the pelicans than do these videos, but I know I need to get this out there. We have to be placed in certain areas to hold those energies, to baffle the negativity so that we don't have a major earth catastrophe. Yes, we can have technological catastrophes that are beyond our control, that are part of our experience. But we hold the light and the frequency and the intent so that it does not go out of control. Persons that have followed my work have heard me mention that many times I have to go into certain places to do exactly that, to stop potential earth catastrophes just by holding the vibration, by holding the intent, by baffling the negativity that the collective in that surrounding area and that the ancient emotions embedded into that ground does not cleanse itself by a giant earthquake or something of that nature. This is the end of the Great Awakening that's happening on the planet. Everybody is starting to step in to their spiritual awakening. And that's what the end times is all about. The end times is the ending of that separateness, that separation from source. Spirituality is about the integration, my train, of source in the physical form. Consciously integrating source in the physical form. As we do, we start seeing deeper and deeper and deeper into what's going on and how reality is created. I've stated many times that what I see in my deepest meditations are ones and zeros, zeros and ones, binary code. That zero is the all that is, the singularity, the full oneness of source. Each consciousness outside of that, I don't care whether it's that pelican or me or you or the leaf on that tree or the whole tree, all of consciousness or a single atom are the ones. And that's on the exterior, having the experience of whatever it is. It's all about the experience. The end times is about the realization that it's all about the experience. The end times is all about stepping into our consciously being co-creators. We're leaving that state of duality behind. That's what the end times is all about. 2016 in the purging is cleaning up the mess. Team Dark has been in control of the governments and the religions and the monetary system and the war machine that's been controlling this planet. They've done a great job. It's so cool to see it walking on water when they take off. Awesome. Team Dark's done a fantastic job. There's a lot of people newly awakening that is really, and they're going through their geopolitical awakening, and they're very freaked out about what Team Dark is doing. And that's part of the process. If you don't say, no, you don't want this, then, and you're not choosing what you wish to experience consciously, then you're going to be having what experience happens in your experience being done to you and for you. The question is, do you want to consciously co-create it and manifest that which you really, really desire, you want to experience? Or are you going to allow it to be done for you? Part of the duality experience was that God was on the exterior of us and not necessarily on the interior. With the churches and the religions that controlled humanity for so long, they always taught that God was on the exterior, that you didn't have control, that you could pray and hopefully God would be merciful so you didn't have all the crap in your life, but they didn't tell you how the quantum universe works, and that if you hold this fear and these anxieties, that you're just perpetuating that as being the experience that you're creating. The awakening is the realization of that and the taking back of our individual powers as individuals and then collectively as the human consciousness. There's going to be many stages of how that unfolds. Many people perceive New Earth in a higher dimensional experience or reality, which we will have. But each and every person has to come through to their avatar level of experience before we'll not be experiencing this level, this physical level of Earth anymore. We're not going to go through to the higher crystalline states of Earth until everyone on Earth realizes their avatar self. And in that, you cannot stay in this dimensional reality. It's an impossibility. It's just like the harmonics that I say, as you attune to those levels of light and frequency by going ever deeper into your heart, and you're expanding into those levels of consciousness, because that is the only way you get to higher consciousness. When you do that, then all the various levels are right on top of us at the same time. Our ego selves in harmonic 1, dimensions 1, 2, and 3. Our soul selves in harmonic 2, which is where our beginning ET selves lie, the astral lies. That's harmonic 2, dimensions 4, 5, and 6. Our oversoul self, or archangelic self, harmonic 3, which is dimensions 7, 8, and 9. Our Elohim, or avatar self in harmonic 4, which is dimensions 10, 11, and 12, when we activate 12-strand DNA, or our ascended mastery levels, which supersede the physical levels, which are the levels of magnetics, that which everything here is generated by, which is dimensions 13, 14, and 15. Then you're out of the time-space matrix. You can go on to a different time-space matrix if you go through, get to that level. You can remove yourself from this level and perceive others. Or if you decide to check out, you can go to others. But that's the only way that you complete the cycle. And it is when everybody on this planet gets to that point that will dimensionally shift this reality into something brand new. We cannot remain in this reality. So the end times is about the ending of the duality game. The realization that Team Light and Team Dark have been doing their parts as opposite ends of the polarity spectrum, so that we could have this duality experiment, Earth School. And the 7 years of tribulation is from that Passean age of duality, the changeover that it takes to get into the Passean age, the new age, the enlightened age, that which we're all going to. That which December 21st, 2012, or the 12-12-12 was all about. And it all has to do, on a more physical level, with our position in the galactic plane. You have the center of the Milky Way galaxy right here with all the spirals going out like a big pinwheel. And what happened is December 2012, we were right in the midstream of just touching the galactic center as we're going up and down every 26,000 years. We were just beginning touching that galactic plane in December 2010. December 2012, we're in the center of it. And what we're getting ready to do by the end of next year is be totally out of that galactic plane, out of the darkness of the lower frequency, and back up into the light for the next 26,000 years, or actually 13,000 years of the higher frequencies. It is this when we go through our transitions. We're in the photon belt. We are in the higher vibrations of light. The light is coming from the great central sun, which is the center of that Milky Way galaxy, and it stepped down by Sirius B, which steps it down and sends it out to Alcyon, which steps it down and sends it out to our sun. Our sun, Helios, which Solaris, which our solar system revolves around Alcyon in the Pleiades. And everything that revolves around Alcyon in the Pleiades, which is not just our own solar system, but many others, that all revolves around Sirius B. And then that, in turn, revolves around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So we have our sun, we have the great central sun, which is Alcyon, we have the great central sun, which is Sirius B, and we have the great central sun, which is the center of the Milky Way galaxy. We also do this number as we are going around the great central sun. We come up and down in photons, in polarities. That's really what it is. It's frequency. Frequency is anything that vibrates. It's the wavelength between 2 points that oscillates. It's the experience. It's the Vesica Pisces. And this time, we as humanity are coming to that final states of development in physical form. We are activating all 12 strands of DNA, coming back out of that separation, coming out of the duality experiment. experience. It's the experience for self, but we're collectively doing it for the whole. Well, on a greater scale, each person on this planet is an ambassador of other civilizations. They are all representatives of other civilizations that are all going through this duality experience, but they don't have to live it. They're seeing through our eyes, just like watching a movie, and we are all actors in that movie here on Earth. But the other civilizations, which are going through their ascension process also. Did you get it? Did you get it? Oh, you missed it. He tried 3 times for a mullet and missed it. This whole galaxy is going through its ascension, but not everybody. And see, ascension, why do we have negativity? Negativity is about conflict resolution. What had happened here with this creation we call Nebadon, this local universe, which is the Milky Way galaxy on a spiritual level, is called Nebadon. Nebadon, it had a Michael that was the creator. That creator, some people might name Yeshua. He's also known as Jesus. He's known as many things, but he's a Michael. Everybody on this planet is learning to become a Michael, to create our own local universes. We're doing it with our physical vessel. We're doing it on the external. This particular galaxy was created in such light that when it came time for completion, the in-breath of God back to source, what was happening was, and we as the individual players have to do this. We have to choose this. This is why in my last video I said my focus is on returning to Prime Creator. It's on the singularity. That's why I had the experience in my past life regression of what I experienced. But Michael, Jesus, Yeshua, of this local universe was the creator of this local universe we call the Milky Way galaxy, spiritually called Nebadon. Read the Urantia book. That'll help you better understand the spiritual side of what's going on. This galaxy was created in levels of light without having negativity, which is necessary for conflict resolution. And without having some amount of negativity, polarity, you're not going to make up your mind on how to return to source. You'll hit, just like so many of us that are teaching Ascension Mastery or teaching about the bliss that happens as we activate our chakra system in our light body. And this is different from yoga bliss. This is perpetual. This never ends. Yoga bliss and prana is what gets you to this point. It's only when you want to make that a permanent state of being, which many persons in the yoga community said you couldn't make it a perpetual state of being. That's a falsehood. Ascension Mastery is making that a perpetual, permanent state of being. That's exactly what the activation of the light body, the chakra system, consciousness is all about. It is being in that perpetual state of meditation at all times, which is just being inward, connected to the higher levels of consciousness at whatever level that you've progressed. That's what it's all about. Michael, Yeshua, Jesus, generated this galaxy with such light that persons in the higher states of frequency were fine in their bliss, and they never wanted to go through and have other experiences or even to return home. It's one thing to not have these very adventurous experiences. It's another thing when you can't find your way home because you're just always on the bliss drug. And so you don't choose how to get back home. And so we had the duality experiment within this galaxy to find out how much negativity is necessary for conflict resolution. That's what the men in black were all about. They popped a hole from another reality into Orion and sent out waves of negativity, which was necessary for the collective Elohim, which we are all part of the collective Elohim, about the collective Elohim generates all the experiences that there is to offered within the local universe, what you can go down and into. But when the men in black popped a hole into this local universe of Nebadon, it was a godsend, prom creator sin, because there was now a negativity that came in so that we could learn from that and to find out how much negativity is needed for conflict resolution. Well, that's been the whole duality experience for these millions and billions of years. Then we have gone through and we've blown up the various worlds and planets that we've been on so many times that there was groups of us that were asked to come here as volunteers and to come with the veils on, as we all did, and to find our way back out of the matrix and to tell and relate that experience to others. And that's what's been going on these past 40 years since this ascension process has begun, since we started coming up closer to that point of the galactic center plane and coming into the light, expanding the frequency, raising the consciousness, going through our ascension process, integrating the ascension process. The 7 years of tribulation, the end times mentioned in the Bible that the religions say is so destructive. Well, that's the cleaning up of the duality game. That's the realization, the awakening of all the collective of humanity, mostly being those adults. And if they're not going through their process, the purging up, they're dropping body and moving on, because they're not ready to go through the process. If you're ready to go through the process, you're going to go through the process. If you want to go through the process and you are focused about that, you're holding that intent, you're going to manifest it. If you want to know the answers, you're going to know the answers. That's just how a quantum universe works. But it's this time that's going on with the collective of humanity in 2016 being the final year. That's the purging. And a lot of persons who are not ready for the completion of duality will be removed and put into another time-space matrix, because this one is shifting. And it is those who are the volunteers and those who are waking up that are shifting the collective reality. 2016 is the purging, the final year of the awakening, the realization that we're all collectively manifesting this. That's what the end times is all about. Anyway, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we've got another several days of good weather before it starts getting cold here, and I've got some landscaping I gotta go do. And some playing in the sun, receiving more encoding, because that's what the light is. The light, I might as well say this too. The light is information. The light is data packs. Those data packs can only be opened up to whatever level of higher consciousness expansion by getting out of the head and into the heart of your higher self that the individual can attain. It's a direct reflection of their own work. That's why so many persons who are jumping up and down saying food's going to give you consciousness, if you really start listening to them, they're missing a whole lot of pieces to the puzzle. Because the food will help your brain develop. Beep, beep. But it's not going to help your consciousness develop. Only where you place your focus is going to help your consciousness develop. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's the mechanics of it. But these data packs that's coming in, that is sent out from the great central sun to Sirius B, and it's transformed and sent out from there to everything that revolves around Sirius B, and then that is received by Alcyon and stepped down to a different level of understanding, it's transformed into levels of information that everything that revolves around Alcyon can comprehend, needs, and then what comes from Alcyon comes to Helios, to Solaris, and that is stepped down and sent out to everything that comes and revolves around this sun, to us. That light is encoding, that light is information, that light is data packs that can only be unlocked by the individual depending in a direct reflection of how deep they've gone inside to expand to whatever harmonic and consciousness level outside. It's just part of the process. That is how consciousness works. There is engineering to what is going on. Prime Creator is definitely an engineer. There's no doubt about it. Just like Ascension, that you are engineering this vessel, changing it from just a typical human into an Ascended Master, into a 12-strand DNA activated Ascended Master. And that's what's going on right now as we're finishing up 2015, going into 2016. First wave is stepping into their completion. That's what it's all about. Second wave is just now firing up. Second wave's got to go through their process. And generally, it takes about 7 years. Even if you didn't begin your process in 2009, it's if you're an old timer, it's going to take you, if you're just waking up, it's probably going to take you about 7 years to go through your process. And you've got to go through the dark night of the soul. You've got to go through all these changes and all of this renunciation of the old lives and your ego self. That's really what it is. And it doesn't happen overnight. And your body cannot handle the full-on levels of light and frequency overnight. It's a conditioning. It's a transformation. It's a transition. It is an ascension. It's a resurrection. And if you understand and you can really, really look at the process, everything's perfect for the individual at whatever level they're on. They've got to learn the lessons. They've got to clear up the negativity, because the levels of light and frequency coming in is going to bring up and magnify whatever negativity is on the inside so that it can be looked at, addressed, and released. Many persons want to hide. They want to stay out of the sunlight. Many persons want to wear shades. This sunlight is coming through your eyes and going to activate your pineal gland, your ascension chakra back here, and your pituitary gland right here. It's what activates the third eye. It's what, in the third eye, the pineal gland, that system right there is an antenna for broadcasting or receiving all the encodings coming in to broadcast as a manifester, 4444, to be able to receive the whole thing. It's a part of the process. If you really, really want to activate your pineal gland, sun gaze. Don't drink fluoride water. Don't drink stuff that has electrolytes dissolved in it electronically. Those things can crust up your pineal gland. I've got a problem with a lot of these alkalized waters that persons drink that are done electronically, because you're dissolving the heavy metals, the salts, and that recrystallizes, just like making sugar crystals on your pineal gland, and you can lose that ability to see. There's a lot of technology out there that is hasn't been looked at wholly and completely, that from an engineering standpoint I do question. Anyway, it's time I wrap this one up so I don't lose my battery. That's what's going on right now. We're at the final year of the end times coming up. Many of us knew that when the Atlantean crystals, the old temple crystals that we buried just before the fall of Atlantis, were powered up at the 999 September 9th, 2009 gate activation. That was the beginning of the tribulation. February of 2013 was the center point, and we're coming up to the end by the end of 2016. That's for the first waivers. Second waivers, first waivers are holding space for second waivers. The third waivers are the kids. The kids are coming in. For the most part, many of them are very awake and aware, and knows what quantum physics and how thought creates reality. Just like that little girl in the cart the other day, and she was holding her hand out. I said, "Are you working your magic?" She's going, "Uh-huh." I am. And I had to go, "Me too." Kids know what's going on. It's the second wave that's going to be interesting to see, because they're just now coming on. They're just now firing up. Sorry, Matt Kahn, but first wave began 40 years ago, bro. We're at our states of completion. Get out of the archangelic self. Go into that mastery self. You'll understand. Anyway, bye for now. Love y'all. Where is that cursor? Ah, there it is.